Here, I think like they need something that scales. It's either carry or they're gonna go into something like Natan, one or the other. Because if they do opt to go for, something like Roger, I'm looking at their composition and I'm trying to figure out how much of a lead does Hayabusa need to create opportunities for Roger.
Let's go for the Ruby. You could go Ruby. No, it's a Nathan.
Okay.
Yeah, Natan.
0% win rate for the Natan.
Hey man, people have been moving away from hyper-scaling like weak early game style heroes.
There's a lot of magic damage from the side of Bigetron Beta though.
Also true. Definitely much easier to itemize for the side of the Homebois. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to whether Homebois can actually generate a lead for Amal.
Yeah, before we let you go, Gideon, let me know your last thoughts on the draft. Who do you favor? Who do you think is going to win this time?
I think I'm liking the Homebois a little bit more because the composition, as soon as they get that first kill, is going to be a lot easier. If they survive the early game, it's up to Bigetron Beta.
Of course, the Malaysian supports the Malaysian team. What else? But ladies and gentlemen, we are loading in. The draft looks super good, especially that Alpha, the back pose never gets old. Man, oh man. The Lanadon, we're loading in. It's time for the second series of today in Stream A. It's the Homebois up against Bigetron Beta.
Then you know what? I'm happy to see Bigetron Beta putting in Lynch again. Like, Lynch didn't play in day number 2, and he got the MVP in day number 1, and I was wondering that day, is like, why didn't Lynch play? I mean, he got the MVP. That should be his ticket to get it. And maybe if he played in day number 2, the results might be different.
Like the first game. Yeah, the first game.
Yeah.
I think, if I remember correctly, it was up against Geek Fam. They could have taken the game off of that, but they chose to sub in Washapal. Do you think that Washapal was the problem right here?
Wouldn't want to say that he's the problem, right? Like,
oh, wait, but hold on.
Oh, wait.
It's the first kill over the mall.
Wow, you blink it, you miss it. And maybe with the second kill coming up?
Yeah, that brings me back to way long before, but Noxu with a sliver, able to walk himself away. Udil also very low, very disciplined coming up for the side of Homebois.
Okay, we kind of missed that moment, but hopefully we'll be able to get a replay on what exactly happened. But so far, this is a good start for Homebois here, getting that first blood, and they will give them a slight level advantage.
Yeah.
And also, another chance to engage.
Whoa, actually, Saruzi taking a lot of damage. That's the power of the Arlot in the roam position. You're able to dish out a lot of damage, wave clear early, and then start that early game rotation. But based on the lane-to-lane matchup, the Barats versus Terizla, what do you think is going to happen, Cloud?
Well, the Barats versus the Terizla, I believe that it's going to be a 50-50. Because if you kind of think about it, both sides don't have that level of damage, especially when it comes to early engagements. And I don't expect the rotation to happen to go down to try to take out either side. They might want to focus on taking out the Moskov instead because you don't want him to scale. Yeah,
mid-side, Lynch shadow himself away, but Nox is getting pulled back. I don't think anything is going to happen, but 15 seconds until the Lord spawns. This means that Lynch has to go back to get the reset. Turtle will be zoned out by the side of Homebois. You got 4 men already in position down in the Turtle pit. Now, do you think that Homebois, you know, they're known to be very heavy towards the EXP side, especially in the early game? Do you think that will work out for them based on their composition, since you have that juice in, since you have that zone control?
Yeah, and I think that the EXP, of course, the biggest engager here will be Marzi, right? He has to land his penalty zone. So in order for him to land, it's not only about landing, he has to be able to tank after that as well. So being able to scale is also pretty important for him, but is it the main priority for Homebois? Probably not. I would expect them to put a little bit more focus to pin, because you don't want someone who's able to come up with free damage from the back.
Yeah, that being said as well, you know, Udil is doing a good job zoning out the rest of Bigetron Beta. They're finding it very hard to get into the midst of all these neutral objectives. Using that lantern to just push you away, using that lantern to slow you, it kind of creates a hold on a second. Amo gets an aggressive kill over to Noxu, so the roam goes down, and then the aggression comes through into the jungle of Bigetron Beta.
Yeah, another blink and you miss it moment. I believe they were tussling for them
actually out of position, but using the ultimate to get out of the way, using that Crimson Flowers just to dash it out. So defensive maneuver, and that's why I like the juice in. You have a defensive and probably like a escape mechanism, so to speak, a built-in one. But on the top side, taking a lot of damage, Pin gets pinned down underneath his own turret. He's going to be fine. That's going to get that reset.
Yeah, I really like the fact that Udil is teasing Bigetron Beta, like he goes all the way to the back. But look at the bottom as well, right? So Lynch is trying to find space to farm because he notices that Homebois, they're starting to engage into the jungle at the top, limiting his space. So now he has to find somewhere else to get it.
Yeah, Lynch trying to get that sandwich, able to use the shadow clones to get out of the way. But Cloud, you are Homeboys. You're 2K gold lead up ahead against Bigetron Beta. What's your move? Do you start the aggression going since you have the alpha to sort of like deal that true damage? It's sort of like sustain a lot more to get that snowball going. What is your plan? What is the strategy for Homeboys?
I'll definitely want to try to invade the jungle and try to choke down Bigetron Beta because there's two key reasons, right? One is you don't want Lynch to scale to a point that he can deal a lot of damage and probably even come up with only through the shadow kill just by himself on the backline to get his own kills. And also, you don't want to wait until the late game where Pin has skill enough to defend.
Noxu with the Earth Shatter pops off. Lynch on the backside taking out Mao, but Noxu getting caught in the process. You got a sandwich down, 4 members down. Oh! Huge penalty zone by Marzi, trapping both of them. Bigetron Beta desperately trying to start the aggression going to the Nether Realm. Not enough to save Marzi. Udo will take down that kill, and Lynch actually steals the turtle in the process. This is a very, very good trade considering that's 1-1 down on both sides. Bigetron Beta barely staying afloat. Now, your 1k gold difference, your Bigetron Beta. How do you want to play this? On the team fights, Pin was able to do a lot of magic damage. You're waiting for Marzi to get that set up.
Yeah.
What is the plan now? How do you want to scale up? How do you want to raise the momentum going?
Yeah, I mean, it's only that one fight still, right? So there's still that space for Homeboys to really keep that distance between Bigetron Beta. But what I really like about the earlier fight is that Bigetron Beta, their coordination. The moment Marzi comes in with the penalty zone, it was followed up with the nether round just to give him the extra protection. So even the Homeboys, they want to counter-engage onto Marzi like they can because of the nether realm. And Bigetron Beta just eat Homeboys up.
Oh man, actually, Pin is using the entropy just to clear the waves and just to optimize that lane-to-lane farming. Now we got itemized builds over here. First item I see for the side of the Marzi is actually the Devil's Wings, the Queen's Wings. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think these are standard items, especially for
Would you want to go for the War Axe first though, Cloud?
Probably won't. I want to focus onto this magical damage for now because if you look at the items from Homeboys, they have yet to have any true magical defense yet. So this is a good time to capitalize.
Yeah. And that being said, though, I think Marzi is trying to go for a little bit more tanky build because he knows he's able to utilize the sort of like penalty zone and flicker combo down into the midst, into the heart of the battles whenever it comes. And Bigetron Beta playing very, very counter-aggressively. They wait for Homeboys to start the engage, wait for Udio to pop his ultimate, get out of the way, and then he finds an opportunity to go straight for it. Turtle spawning up in 10 seconds. How do you think Homeboys want to play this?
Oh man, at first they have to be aware of Marzi's position. He is waiting at the bush just right in front of the turtle, so he's prepared to pretty much do the same thing. Penalty zone comes in, and then you have the nether round to kind of save him. Okay, Marzi will be the target.
Okay, getting pulled back by the 2-man penalty zone. We'll be able to get alive with the nether realm. Get that as well done with the Hawk Tua down into the wall. Turtle not even the main question here. Now Udo able to do that damage in, and Nets starting the aggression go. He is still going down. That is 3 members down over the side of Bigetron Beta, and Homeboys actually starting the momentum and keeping it going, shifting down gears into a higher gear, but at the same time Pin down the bottom side and taking down all of these turret objectives.
Yeah, Pin not being at the turtle is just part of the plan because he sees an opportunity at the bottom to take down the turret so wide as well because you need to open up the space for Bigetron Beta to farm, especially for Lynch. He does not have the space to farm because Homeboys have penetrated the top jungle of Bigetron Beta.
Yeah, Lynch doesn't have his purple buff. That's not going to be good. The T1 down on the Bigetron Beta side is already torn down, demolished. And the bottom side, they're looking for a nice little trade onto Year 3 with the crown just to take a time and pop in the Primal Wrap, trying to deal a lot of damage. You got the SOD landing. He won't be able to join that battle. But, here comes Lynch trying to get that shadow kill onto Udio. Not enough. Risky. I spoke a little bit too soon. The power of the Sky Piercer comes in. Bigetron Beta, they take what they can and they get away. Now the trade comes when Homeboys is actually pushing up that top side. They have that lane priority, but Bigetron Beta, they want the aggression going and want to keep it going. They're sitting on the jungles outside of Homeboys and they want to take down all these turrets, playing around Pin. Now, we noticed a lot of these team fights, Pin wasn't in. How do you think that this changes now that Nathan has his power spike?
Yeah, and this is what we talked about earlier on, right? Is it good for him to go all out magical damage? Yes, because even at this point, Homeboys, they do not have magical defense or much of magical defense that is. And Lynch, he was well protected by a Naxu in the earlier fight. So we can see the coordination that they already have. And as long as the itemization is still kept in this way, that's probably going to be the setup for them. But if Homeboy starts to bring in the Twilight Armor, for example, or any other defensive, magical defensive items, then that is where Bigetron Beta, they have the option to switch the item.
Yeah, Radiant Shield will be looking very good for Homeboys in order to soak that damage from Pin, but Udil tries to source out a little bit more information onward, will land onto no one, but it flickers in and gets Amo. Amo uses the spear to get out, knocks the roll fall, SOD goes wide, Marzi on the back line trying to hit a little bit more. It's Havoc for the side of Homeboys. They're running for the hills, they'll run, they won't stop. Udil using the flicker to get out that way, but Nets joins the battle in the nick of time and trying his best to take down Marzi, but Lynch just barely misses. Nets use the flicker in the nick of time to get out of the way. Now the Lord is so low. Lynch is alive. He doesn't have the retribution. He doesn't want to go for more. He gets that reset, but all this time, Homeboys, they're coming up online. Lynch coming in, doesn't have the shadow kill, but that does not matter. Udil will go down.
Oh, and now the Lord will be out and open for Bigetron Beta, and they will secure it. Dude, what did I tell you? Bigetron Beta needs to play with Lynch.
Oh, it's not over yet. They go for Nets. Missing. Oh, no, not missing. But Lynch actually stacking up those Sky Piercers to his full advantage. They're okay giving up that turret because they've got the Lord marching down the bot side.
Dude, this is Lynch telling his boss, I don't need a raise.
Man.
I need a spot to play.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Homeboys, they don't want to lose to an MDL team. This is Bigetron Beta push into the corner, and they're like, you know, we've got nothing to lose. Let's just play our best. Let's just have fun. And Homeboys, they're feeling the fun coming in from Bigetron Beta.
And technically, Homeboys, even though with their new players, they're all MPL, MY players as well. So, yeah, it's still a right comparison to a certain extent.
Yeah, top 2 in MPL MY Season 12, but Bigetron Beta actually looking like a very strong fight here. Economy dead even. Bigetron Beta has a very small lead. They've got the Lord pushing down. They're trying to pause the wave and try to get all 3 waves to push it down together. T2's gone for Homeboys. They're looking for a right opportunity, a right angle to get that nice little setup. Naxu doesn't have the flicker. He will in 2 seconds. So we might see a nice little fight over here. Or they might just have a little bit more discipline and get out the way. Lynch taking a little bit of damage from Nets and just walks off.
Yeah, Lynch was being sneaky there. He tried to do the split push, but lucky enough for Nets, he does have the spear to teleport himself there towards Lynch. Of course, it has to connect though, but it's not that difficult since the distance is not that far.
Mid-side, actually, the onward hits onto Nets, but he's able to use the flicker again to get out of the way, so it keeps him safe. Homeboys really needs to hunker down, try to protect Nets. They do have a little bit more decent wave clear. Now, without the jungle, Udil is unable to, fully utilize this juice in to the best of her abilities to try to open up source for more information, flying Knight's flank. And speaking of which, let's take a look at itemizations. Cloud, is there anything interesting you want to bring up?
Okay, the interesting thing is that no Twilight Armor, no Athena Shield for Homeboys, so for Bigetron Beta, they can still maintain whatever setup that they have been doing before this. But the one hero they need to be careful of is going to be Nets, because he has completed his Trinity items here. So that can be something that he could use to scale to a certain extent to win team fights.
Yeah, 30 seconds until the next Lord spawns up. It does look like Lynch is a ways way ahead of Amal, so that's a very scary Hayabusa you want to deal with, or you don't want to deal with if you're Nets or Udil. So how do you want to play this? Bigetron Beta is sort of like a front-to-back composition. You are playing a 4-to-1 kind of movement or rotation. You're always leaving Nets and Udil alone in the back line. How would you want to protect your marksmen? Would you want to go for this lore? This is 12-minute lore now.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem with Homeboy setup right now that we look at it. Like, they don't have an answer or a direct answer to who's going to go to the backline. If you said Email, cool, but Email needs to be a bit of a frontliner there, but still at the front.
Oh, actually, Noxu, Primal Wrath, a little bit of a panic right there, keeps him alive with another realm. Lynch gets a godlike, and so the Havoc in the midst of battle. Marzi tries to go for a backline. He knows he needs to take down Nets, but he gets killed in the process, getting punished down the backside. It's a 2 for 1. Oh, make it 3. But Saruzi is still back up. Lord is still in question. You've got Maul trying his best to zone out the rest of the members of Beta. Don't forget, Lynch is still a high boost, so he might be able to make his play. Oh no, Amon gets the Lord even before he's able to make a move. And Homeboys, they get the advantage once again.
Dude, out of 10 kills so far, Lynch got 7 of them. This guy is being Lynch esports right now. The rest of them really need to step up the game. And yeah, I see the idea that Bigetron Beta wants to do early on. Like, they create the same formation. I guess the one thing that they maybe kind of forget is that Nets got free hits from behind.
A very, very push and pull game this is. Bigetron Beta had a early lead, then Homeboys backed into a corner. Homeboys now taking control of the zonal potential. And now Amol slowly but surely scaling up. You have 3 very, very thick boys in the form of Mao, Amal, and 3. Your Bigetron Beta, you really need to hunker down. You do have a lot of setups. You do have the Netherrealm to keep you alive as well. So it's all ultimates up and ready. Lord marching down on that top side. Bigetron Beta hunkering down. They're waiting for the right opportunity to strike. And the time is now. Detna's welcome into the onward, into the wall, back to the corner. He gets pulled back, not so far away from the rest of Bigetron Beta. What a play from Homeboys. They didn't manage to take down that T3 up that top side, but T2 is their consolation prize. And Homeboys, they're looking to take down a little bit more since it's the enhanced minions. They're marching into play. Lynch wants to try to find a nice angle onto Udil. He doesn't, but the waves are all pushing in. All 3 T3s are gone. Homeboys, they want to end this right here, right now. Bigetron Beta scrambling to get that defense. And Homeboys, they back off. That's the discipline of the Malaysian team coming into play. They take down all T3s. They take down all of the main economies coming in from Bigetron Beta, slowly but surely scaling up into play.
You know what? If this was a regular ranked game, a team like Homeboys would just press Bigetron Beta and might be punished for it. But like what you said, right? The discipline is shown here by Homeboys. It's like, okay, guys, we got our objectives. Okay, now we have a good lead. Let's pull back here because the next lot will come out in about a minute from there. And if you look at the goal graph as well, it does favor heavily onto Homeboys. And if they're able to get this next lot, they could potentially end this game.
Yeah, it's actually looking really, really good if you're Homeboys. They might have a very, very shaky early start, but everyone's just buying their winter crowns. I think that's the only way they know how to counter that Hayabusa, especially from Lynch. You don't know when he's going to go in with the shadow kill. You want to keep yourself safe. You want to be able to freeze yourself, make yourself invulnerable. It's those iframes that really come into play. 20 seconds until the Lord spawns up. This is going to be, okay, not the 18-minute Lord, but do you think Homeboys wants to wait for it? You want to pull Bigetron Beta into the jungle and try to find a nice flank, a nice angle to go into the back line and try to clear out Pen, clear out Lynch. So before you get that Lord.
Well, I guess, okay, they do have the information that Bigetron Beta was still at their base, but now they don't really have it. But here we go.
It's an easy Lord coming on the side of Homeboys. Knocks you in the spot of bother right there. Marzi puts down penalty zone, hits onto 3. But Bigetron Beta, they're suffering a lot of damage. But Pin getting no free hits. He goes down as well. Lynch gets what he can and gets out of the way.
Here we go.
Here comes Nets. Oh! He might have been able to go for it, but he's so disciplined. He wants to wait for the minions to go in. But Mao gets the final slash. That's a wipeout over side of Bigetron Beta. And Homeboys, they're taking it home, boys.
And here we go. Game number 1 goes to Homeboys. And to answer your earlier question, they had the information that the members of Bigetron Beta is still at their base. And they have 5 players for Homeboys at the Lord area. They have timed it, but they know how long it takes for them to take down the Lord. And the moment Bigetron Beta, they start moving towards the Lord is gone.
Yeah, it's a very, very tricky situation if you're a Bigetron Beta. Do I want to go for this? Do I want to risk all I have to fight in a narrow alleyway, to fight in a place where Moskov likes to play within? You know, to break it down, let's bring back Gideon onto the desk. Break it down for us.
The predecessors had built have fought hard tooth and nail to get to this point.
I got a question though. Okay, so for the side of Homeboys, you know the core items for Year 3, he's actually gone very, very defensive. He's got the Guardian Helm first just to sustain a little bit more. Then the Winter Crown, we've seen very, very early on, and then into the Immortality. No offensive items, so to speak. And same can be said for a lot of members of the side of Homeboys. Do you think that it's better to build defensively, just gambling away or risking the early game and getting that defense that you need to embrace the skirmish that comes in from the early game of Bigetron Beta?
I mean, personally for me, I think Year 3 understands that his laning phase is basically just to sandbag Marzi on this Terizla, right? So what is his role when it comes down to the team fights? And he's just the main frontline tank. Once he initiates and doesn't have Daytona's welcome, there's basically no other use for him other than to follow up on the plays being done by the rest of his team members. So building full defensive items here, and especially with that Winter Crown, keep in mind, after the Daytona's welcome, he does not have any like CC immunity. He is very susceptible to Naksu. He is susceptible to getting pulled back by the Shadow Stampede coming in from Suruzi. And even when we're talking about Marzi, he's going to get jumped on by the penalty zone.
Yeah, at some point I had this thought of like, okay, are they not managing Pin well, right? Because Pin can keep his distance all the way back because Homeboys was just focusing on front to back sort of a team fight, and Pin was just left there. But it worked out well for them, the fact that they know that they can finish off whoever's the frontliner of Bigetron Beta at whichever fighting point, and leaving Pin alone. Pin just has to back off. Yes, Pin was going to take it out twice, but it was good enough job done as long as they can push him back.
Look, this is the statistics, but it doesn't really show the entirety of the story that happened in the game. Homeboys are a very, very smart team. They know that the early game, they're just gonna have to take it. They're just gonna have to take the punches. They're gonna have to take the hits because it's not their power spikes yet. Once Udo gets his Clock of Destiny, gets the Divine Glaive, gets the Blood Wings, he knows that he's ready to just be on the front line, try to zone everyone out, and Bigetron Beta will have to take the blows himself. So it's sort of like a boxing match, don't you think?
Yeah, I do think it was a bit of a boxing match, but then Homeboys, in their arsenal, there is a very high capability of snowballing just as hard as BTR in that early stage. That's why there was such a big struggle in the beginning of the game where both sides were constantly trading against each other because they need that momentum to get to where they want to be. But at the very least, the scaling aspect of the game started to kick in because this game went on pretty long, right? 18 to 10 overall kill score, breaking past 15 minutes as well. It just goes to show that you need to have a long-term plan and short-term goals.
Yeah, and if you look at like the goals of this graph, right, it swings both ways, right? At some point it looked like, okay, it goes on to Homeboys and then Bigetron Beta, and one of the key fighting points here is in the middle, around the 10-minute mark. This is where a lot of fights happen from the side of Bigetron Beta, and looking at this, because the net was still favors towards Homeboys, they lost these fights against Homeboys when they were the one engaging, and it just swings to Homeboys after that.
With that being said, let's give it up for MVP of the game. Homeboys and Nets. Man, I think that like the fact that he was able to survive a lot of